Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 2 of Direwolf20's FortressCraft Evolved series. That's right, we are back on this crazy alien planet that's snowing and freezing and trying to kill me. So between last episode and this one, I've just been doing a little bit of work collecting resources. So I've been, doing stuff, getting the tin and copper going that we've been collecting here. So you can see my tin operation right here. And I just want to scan this real quick because I want to see how much we have. I can see I've got like a decent amount of tin there, but that's really not that much. But I did notice that my copper vein here is huge. Check this out. It's like 1.4 million copper. That's a really large amount of copper to have for an entry level or a high tier service like that. So I'm pretty excited about that because we're going to need a lot of copper this episode, because my plans are to get started with a little bit of research, I think. But before we do that, I want to go down underground again, because remember last episode we started exploring this underground cave area here, and I showed you guys how to grapple down like this. And we started looking around for another type of ore. There are 4 ores that are available at this tier of depth. One of them being copper and tin, are the first 2 that we've already discovered. And the next one that I'm looking for is iron. So I'm just going to clear out this area here real quick and see if I can't find some iron nearby. Let's just give ourselves a little bit of space first, just to explore. And then do another scan for ores. Alright, so looking around. Oh, there is a couple, but there are some pretty small deposits. I might need to go a little bit deeper underground. I'm not seeing too much that's unknown nearby, and that one there looks pretty far away. So I think what I'm going to have to do is get out of here. And once again, I know I mentioned this last episode, but I'll mention it again. It's probably a good idea for you guys to get pretty good at the grappling hook thing. Traversing up and down using that is very powerful, but we are on clumsy mode, so if you misfire that thing, you could hurt yourself, believe it or not. So let's get our juice up. And don't worry, we will definitely get to a point in this game where we don't have to return to our base quite so often to power up. And we're going to hop back down here. And I think we're going to dig a little bit deeper. So let's see, right now we're at Y level 60-ish, so let's go down a little bit further. So there we go, that's around the 90s, down to 100, 110. Let's stop like right here-ish, about 120, that looks good. I'm gonna do another ping for ore. And see what I can discover. Let's clear out a little bit of terrain first, just to give myself another little place to hang out and just chill a bit. A little bit of light here. Cool. By the way, I want to show you guys something really neat. Notice how I don't have any torches on my character right now, but they are craftable. And if you look, you see a torch is made with 5 coal ore, right? Now, currently I don't have any torches. So see, none in my inventory, and down on my hotbar it says 0. But if I go to place it, notice I have 251 coal. It placed the torch anyway, and it auto-crafted the torch using the coal in my inventory. That's a neat feature of the game. And you'll see when I picked it up there, I got, 1 torch back. So basically, you can auto-craft things when you place them. It's only the things that are available in your inventory, though. So that's just something you want to keep in mind, but it's neat. So let's see. Oh, there's a big load of something that way. I'm going to dig off in that direction. There's a bunch of stuff down there as well. Let's head off in this direction and see what I can't find. We'll be back in a second. Alright guys, we're back. I just started digging off in this direction and I found something pretty useful. A big open cave. Nice. So I wouldn't mind exploring this place. I'm going to light up a couple places and see if I can't figure out if there's anything cool down here to see. Now I am getting a little bit low on power, so I don't really want to do another ore ping. So I'm just going to look around. That is some coal. Okay, that's good to know. Got some cool plants up here. It looks like another cave-ish type area in this direction. But I don't want to explore too deeply. I want to also make sure I don't get lost, because that's another thing that's easy to do. Let's light up some areas. Ooh, is that ore down there? I think it is. Nice, let's scan that. That is an unknown ore block, and it looks to me like iron. So I'm going to grapple my way up and back to the base so I can scan quickly and figure out what kind of resource that is. It looks to me like mine. Let's get back upstairs quick. Nice. So like I said, grappling, definitely a good skill to have. Just a little bit dangerous. And I should maybe collect my ores. Pretty soon I'm going to work on being able to store ores. I don't know if I'll get to it this episode or not, but I do want to get to the point where I can store ores in like hoppers so I don't have to collect them quite so frequently. And I also want to make sure that this thing keeps running. So let's throw some copper in because I know I'm going to need a lot of copper pretty soon for what I have planned for the episode. And charge up my batteries. So let's see, was I correct in that this was iron? Yes, nice. All right, cool. So let's see, does that unlock any new research projects for me? It doesn't look like there's anything new. Improved ore scanning, don't really need that. Power grid would be nice, but I think I'd rather start looking at the need for, advanced research. This is what I'm going to want to unlock because the cool stuff that we're going to want to get requires the laboratory. So we definitely need laboratory components. So let's process that research. Cool. And I know I'm going to need some other stuff, but let's see what's involved in making the laboratory first. So come down here, the laboratory component. So one thing you want to note is that you get 9 of these, and it's a multi-block structure that's 3 by 3 by 3. So we need 27 in total, but we get 9 per crafting recipe. And you'll see that it requires some basic PCBs and some research packs. Okay, cool, some basic experiment packs. So let's learn how to make those. Basic experimental pod and basic PCB. So I might need a few more research points. Let's go down into the depths again, maybe. And think about getting some more research points down there. Keeping in mind, by the way, that I'm in clumsy mode because I think, like I mentioned last episode, I had last played where death wasn't really a big deal. Now it's going to be more of a big deal, especially if I die down deep in this cave. I mean, if I'm not too far away, it's not that big a deal. Let's see, how much ore is in this vein? Oh, that's a decent amount, actually. I'm pretty happy with that. That should last me a while. I wouldn't mind... I think the first thing I'm going to do is start mining this ore. So let's clear out a path to some ore here. And keep in mind that, if you just simply right-click on an ore, you're not able to mine it. So feel free to mash away on that right-click button and clear out a nice path to the iron ore. Let's get some light here, and cool, looking good. So we'll get that going, add some power to it. Obviously not too much because I don't want to die here. That'll start processing and getting me iron. Let's build like a nice little walkway. The grappling hook is good, but trust me, it's nice to have a walkway every now and then just to navigate your way around. So let's see, we'll probably want a block here. We'll clear out a path like this. Perfect. That's a nice easy way to get up and down. I like the automatic uphill step assist too that FortressCraft has. You don't have to like jump every block you want to go up. Perfect. Nice little area to mine this stuff out in. Alright, my power is very low. Like, I hope I make it out of here though. That's not good. No. Alright. So like I mentioned, if you run out of power, you're gonna start suffering the effects of hypothermia. I think I'll make it back to my base though. We're getting cold. Getting near a torch is probably not a bad idea. Let's place one down. Just standing on it, and you'll see that your external temperature goes up. It warms you up pretty temporarily, but it'll at least get you back. So if you're underground and you find that you're freezing, throwing a torch down, not a terrible idea. Cool. Let's go down to scan some stuff, I think. I want to make sure this is good. We'll come back in a minute. I'm going to process some more ores and maybe go scan a little bit. All right, guys, we are back. And doing an ore ping, I found a big chunk of blocks that looks to me... I don't know if that's ore or if that's like another type of like stone or something, but I'm gonna try and get down there and not die. It looks too big to be a ore vein. It looks like another layer of dirt and you know, basic rock stuff. But hey, it looks to me like this is a pretty large cavern, which is cool. Let me scan some of these plants too, because remember, every block that we scan, we get some research points for. Not bad. What do we got? A little bit deeper down, unknown block here. Let's scan this dude. Looks like just a simple type of block. What you'll find is that there's like different layers. What's this, tin? Yeah, looks like tin. There's different layers of earth, and like as you get deeper down, you're gonna find stuff. So that looks like, I think I know what that is. I think that's organic over there. Let's hop over and see if I'm right. The grappling hook, by the way, is not great about vertical travel. It's really meant for like horizontal. So keep that in mind. If you want to go across a cavern, you're going to want to kind of go up and across. Yes, looks like organic rock. Cool. So I scanned that dude, and we're going to want to research that back at the station. Did I scan this one already? Yeah. Alright, let's head back up. Pretty sure I scanned all these. These are the same ones that are outside. But as you get deeper down underground, you're going to find new types of plants, new types of enemies, new types of all kinds of stuff. Alright, power's getting low again. And we don't want to die, that's for sure. Zipping out of here, back up to the base. And I want to scan... I want to say that you get a decent chunk of research points for discovering organic rocks. They're very rare throughout the environment. You can use them to make... I think it's called a basic smeltery. I don't think we've unlocked it yet. But I don't recommend doing it. And when we get to that point, I'll show you why. But like the really basic smelteries kind of stink. You don't want to use them unless you really need to. So let's see. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. 4 for the blue glow pod, 8 for the deep stone is what it's called, and then 35 research points. That's awesome. Nice. You can see here I'm waiting for some power. There we go. That should be enough. Yeah, drained a lot of power to do that, but organic rock, we can use that for a couple other things, but now I should be able to research my basic PCB and my basic experimental pod, which again I need to wait a little bit for some power for. Cool, there we go. So let's see what's involved in making these guys. So we're gonna need to make, let's see. I think it's on this tab. Yeah. So laboratory components need the experimental pods and the PCBs. Okay. Which reminds me I need to get back to smelting stuff. And better snag some copper. Because like I said, we're going to need a lot of copper. There we go. Might as well snag some tin too while I'm here, just because I can. Little dude's waving at me like, hey, you're using a lot of power there, Direwolf. Alright. You know what I think I'm going to do is go get some iron too. I want to see how my iron operation is doing. So I want to craft that thing, but I also want to keep up with my ore production. Definitely can't wait till I get to the point where I can start automating some of this stuff, making conveyor belts and transferring these things up automatically so I don't have to run down into my caves every time. But luckily, getting up and down is pretty quick. It only takes a few seconds here to go from my base back down here. So let's add some power. I'm going to run back up to my base, and I will meet you guys up there, you know, once we get... Alright guys, we are back. So let's take a look here. Just getting some smelting done. We need to make basic PCBs, which require copper coils. And then we need to make basic experimental pods, which require basic plates. And the laboratory, which is what we're focusing on making for the episode, requires basic PCBs and the experimental pods. So basically there's 2 components here that we don't know how to make because you can't make them in the machine I'm working with right now. Those are copper plates, and which is required for the experimental pods, and we need like 6 of those, right? And then the other thing that we need is the basic PCB, which is made with copper coils, which again we can't make in the machine we have at the moment. So there's a couple ways we could figure out what we need to do. First off, you could just watch this video because I'm going to show you, or if you wanted to, you could go ahead and just hit the H key for help, and it'll show you how to make them. So you can see basic PCB here. It's telling you that it's made with copper coils, and copper coils, it's telling you, is a Coiler Plant recipe. Cool. And you can see some other stuff that you can do with copper coils. But long story short, in-game help, totally going to help you figure out what you need to do. Or, like I said, we're about to do it now. So this requires copper plates and copper wire. So the first thing we're going to have to make is a stamper plant to get the copper plates. So this is a machine that will create plates out of metal bars. Now, real quick, I just want to make sure that everything is running, so the smelter's going. Remember, it takes a little bit of time and power for that thing to heat up. An upgrade that we're hoping to work on later this episode will be able to help us out with that. But for now, we just want to keep it running as much as possible. And the same with my machines, my miners. They run out of basic inventory space pretty quickly, so I need to make sure to quickly get that filled up. All right, so let's figure out where I want to do this. So the stamper plant. The other thing we're going to need are a couple of hoppers. Now, basic hoppers, remember, come in two types. There's the one that stores about 10 items and is really slow, or the one that stores 2 items and is a little bit quicker. I'm going to go with the quicker version because I'm going to basically be standing there babysitting it a little bit. And then later on, we'll be able to craft the storage hoppers, which store like 100 items and transfer very quickly. So these are definitely like very low tier basic hoppers that are just kind of, you know, really cheap to make, basically. So this machine works as so. We're going to place it down there, like that. And then you'll notice that there's like a conveyor belt inside that's pointing in a direction. So basically, items go in via hopper and are stamped and then are spit out into either a conveyor belt in front of it or into another hopper. So for this basic setup, because I'm going to be doing it manually, it's hopper, stamper, hopper, like this. Now remember, this thing can only hold 2 things at a time. So it's going to be a little bit of a manual process, but like I said, later we can automate it. So let's go clear out some of my second tab of line here. I like to keep some ingots or some bars here available because a lot of the time you're going to find you're going to want to interact with these like this. So let's place our bars into this machine. You can see you can do that with T, and it goes in and stamps it. Nice. And then it's going to progress into the next inventory there. So you can see there's now 1 free slot and there's a copper plate inside. So these hoppers only store a total of 2 items, like not 2 types of items, like 2 items, period. So very small amount, but that's okay. They're quicker to operate than the other type of mini hopper, which maybe we'll check that out in a bit here because I might want to try them just to see just how slow they are. All right, so we're making a few copper plates here. Not too bad. Let's see, is that enough to make the extruder plant? Or the coiler plant? Extruder we don't need just yet, but we will need that eventually. But coiler plant, let's see, what do we got? Copper plate, all right, I need definitely a couple more of those. And some copper wire, which copper wire we can craft in this terminal, but we're gonna need the extruder plant for any other type of wire. So there's like tin wire and other types of wires that we won't be able to craft in this terminal. We're going to need the extrusion plant for those. But for now, luckily, we don't need the extrusion plant for the copper stuff. So let's get a couple more of these. Cool. Nice. And that should be enough for a coiler plant, right? Cool. Now all I need is a copper wire, which luckily is easy to craft. You get 5 of them per 1 copper bar.
Crafting.
Ding. Very cool.
Crafting.
So, coiler plant, craft, awesome. So let's see here. Do I want to replace this here? I probably could. Might not be a terrible idea. Yeah, let's replace this thing. And here I'm going to place that guy. So the coiler plant accepts wires, so copper wires. And we're going to just place them in there. And you can see it's going to have a built-in little coiler there. It's going to coil up that wire and then just stick it into the hopper next to it. Cool, right? So I'm just going to keep this thing full at all times and craft myself a couple of these coils. So let's see in total what we're going to need. Let's see, so that's a couple coils there. It's 1 coil per 1 wire. Let's steal some energy from our base, charge ourselves back up, and maybe snag some more iron and tin and copper and whatnot. So let's some tin. Let's see, is this thing running? Cool, it's still running on copper. That's good. Like I told you, we need a lot of copper this episode. Because when we get around to being ready to build a laboratory, that's when stuff gets tough. Let's go get some iron too while we're at it. I'm guessing my iron miner is probably filled up at this point because it's been a while since I've come down to get it. Being careful not to die down here. Nice. Okay, so now that we're back up at the base, I'm making the other type of hopper, which is the one that stores 10 items and is pretty slow to transfer. I want to give this a try and see how it goes because we're going to need a lot of copper plates. So I'm going to place these here, and maybe I can just let this be. Oops, didn't want to do that. We're probably just going to want to let this be, like I said, so I can throw like 10 copper in at a time. So let's see, drop the 10 in there, and let's just see how slow it is to process. So it's going to stamp it, and then we'll see. So let's figure out how much we need for the time being. So I'm going to need a few more copper wires, and I know I need to coil those guys up. Oops, not bars, but coils. The nice thing about these machines is if the wrong item goes into it, you'll notice that on the right it says it's got 1 copper bar there. So when I pull that out, it'll be good. The bar will go through and just not do anything. So it'll act like just a regular conveyor belt in that the item will pass through and not actually do anything on it, which is kind of neat. Might be useful for later. So that thing is really slow about transferring. Like we've only gotten a couple bars so far in the time that we've gotten this. See, the downside is either I have to sit here and babysit the production 2 at a time, or it just takes that much longer. Like this is already annoying. But hopefully, I wonder if I have enough stuff. Let's see. How much of this do we need? So we're gonna need 5 basic experimental pods, right? Yeah. So we're gonna need a decent amount, and this is still pretty slow. And these guys need 6 copper plates each. Brutal. And then we need 3 sets of those, because remember we get 9 per crafting recipe. So let's get some more basic PCBs. And then craft our first experimental pod. Nice, 1 down, 4 to go before I can make my first set of laboratory components. So like I said, copper is something we need a lot of. Speaking of, let's make sure we've got enough there. I wouldn't mind checking to see if I can make storage hoppers. Yeah, I can make one of these.
Crafting.
Nice. All right, I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do. Let's do this. Let's take out the coal from this thing, right? I'm gonna break it, pick it up, and place just the basic logistics hopper there. So that is not this guy, but this one. Yes, I need to craft one.
Crafting.
So this is probably going to be fine here, because we don't really need to store more than 2. I better add power to this thing too while I'm at it. A lot of juice filling up. By the way, another approach I could do here if I wanted to is just to store it directly here by holding E. So I can kind of just store the battery that's next to it. We'll probably start making some more batteries soon, but I don't think we've got all the types of metal that we need for that. I think there's a type of metal that we haven't discovered yet that is required. So we'll get around to that in a bit. So let's remove these guys. Got some plates in there, nice. And make sure this thing's running again. We're gonna need more iron if we wanna make more of these storage hoppers. And boy, this thing's low on power too, huh? These things just love being power hungry. Trust me, after playing this for a little bit without automation, you're gonna love it when you can start automating stuff like power transfer and item routing and all that good stuff. We just need to research our way up to that point. All right, back up to life. All right, let's place down our hoppers here. So we're gonna want 1 here and 1 here. Now, what you can do with this is pretty cool. Notice how it says if I hit T, it's going to store all 59. If I hold Shift and hit T, it'll hold 10 at a time. So what I'm going to want to do is do 10 at a time here. I'll probably just do a couple. So there we go. A couple go in there. And that should be pretty quick. So let's come back here in a moment once we've gotten this stuff all set. All right, guys, we are back. And you can see I've got some copper plates here. Nice. Collecting the last couple of those. And I think we've almost got enough, let's see, to make what I want to make. Copper ore is still cooking. That's good. A couple more plates coming through here. I think we're all right. So let's see. Do I have enough to make my first set of laboratory components? So we're going to need, let's see here, a few more basic experimental pods. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're going to need a little bit more of these plates. Copper coming in.
Crafting.
One more. Nice. All right, that's the first set of laboratory components ready to craft. I just need 2 more sets. So let's see here. We're definitely going to want, I'm getting a little bit low on copper. I'm thinking maybe I want to speed up our copper production here. Let's do our recipes. Let's see. Any projects we can do right now that would help us out? Really, miner upgrades 2 is what I want to get to, but that requires a laboratory. So, but that's going to give us something that can help us speed up our processing and our ore production even more. I think I might be able to speed it up a little bit though, because I did do the miner upgrades 1. Let me double check that. First, let's make sure this is running. We'll do iron for now. And let's check over here. It would be in this tab. Forced induction, right? And basic drill motor. So let's do a forced induction. This will speed up our ore processing. Now that we've got a decent amount of iron, copper, and tin, I was kind of waiting for some iron to be able to do that. That's going to rapidly speed things up for us. And the other thing I want to make is a basic drill motor. So the forced induction, as you can see, is it speeds it up 200% and it uses power faster. It'll also speed up how quickly it heats up to temperature. So basically that thing's awesome. But there's a tier 2 version that I want even more that'll make it even more fast. But for now, let's throw this drill. So to do that, all we have to do is click in this slot here, and you'll see that it automatically installs the best drill that we have in our inventory. So if we look here, I'm going to add some power, because using this drill uses a little bit more power, but it'll also increase the speed at which it produces ore. So notice that one operation over here is producing 4 ore, right? So we're getting 4 tin per operation. Over here, we're going to wind up getting 8 copper per operation. So the basic drill motor, which is the lowest tier, is going to give us about 8 copper ore per operation. Nice. That's what I want to see. So now we're getting copper more quickly, because obviously we need a ton of copper in order to produce what we need for this laboratory. So just because I have a lot of tin in my inventory right now, I'm going to start melting that stuff down. And let's go check out over here. Do I have the stuff to make another storage hopper? I don't think I do. No, definitely not enough tin or iron. So that's okay. I think I'm going to take another quick trip downstairs to get myself some more iron, because I'm going to want more storage hoppers soon. Those are the best ones, like by far, because they're both fast and store 100 items at a time. But unfortunately, they're just expensive to make, at least at this stage in the game. Soon they'll be like nothing, because once we can automate the collection of ores and stuff, it's going to be a lot easier. So let's make sure this thing's full on power while I'm down here, and head back up. I love traveling by grappling hook. Pretty much any game that adds a grappling. Alright guys, we are back. So, continuing to process my ores, and I finally got enough copper plates to make the last set of laboratory components. So you can see in my hotbar down there, I've got 27 laboratory components ready to go placed. Nice. So let's snag just a couple things here. I think where I want to put it is probably right over here. This looks like a nice spot for a laboratory. So you'll notice as we place these down, we get these under construction blocks here. Another nice feature of FortressCraft is if you place a block where you're standing, it'll automatically like bump you up. So just by clicking it did that. Nice. And this needs to be in a 3x3x3 pattern. Hooray! Our laboratory is complete. So as you can see here, there's only 2 projects that are available to us at the moment that we can do is basic minor upgrades 2 and basic base building automation. This thing unfortunately does require power as well though, so we're gonna have to deal with that probably next episode. I'm thinking we'll probably look at power grid as a research objective for the next episode, and then we can start looking at doing power and other kinds of cool stuff like that. However, for now, it is time to wrap up this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed checking out FortressCraft Evolved Episode 2. As always, leave me some comments and feedback. Let me know how you're liking the series thus far. We'll be back next time to start looking at maybe some power production, getting some research going, some better miner upgrades, and what's all involved with the research and laboratory station. All right, guys, take it easy.